It's safe to say Spider-Man No Way Home is one of the biggest MCU or even Marvel movies ever. After all the rumors and leaks, No Way Home finally released in theaters in what felt like eternity from waiting. This movie exceeded the hype financially and critically and became the biggest release for a film since Avengers Endgame. In the box office, man, it just shattered it. Just imagine if this movie hadn't taken place in the pandemic era, if there was no COVID, just imagine how much it would have earned in the box office. This amazing threequel paid homage to both Toby Maguire and Andrew Garfield's respective movies, and at the same time was a heavy journey for our own Spider-Man in the MCU. Seeing our favorite heroes and villains return after so many years and into the MCU, like, it was amazing. It really was a good time to be a Spider-Man fan, heck, even a comic book movie fan. Let me tell you this, it's almost impossible to pick just 10 emotional moments from this gem of a movie, and there would most likely be a part 2 or even 3 or more to this video. And to clarify, emotional doesn't just mean sad, as we have different emotions when it comes to humans. So strap in and let's get to the 10 emotional moments from Spider-Man No Way Home.
That's great. Thank you. Well, I have some good news, Peter. I don't believe any of the charges against you are going to stick.
At number 10, we have Charlie Cox returning as Daredevil. There were merely just rumors before No Way Home's release that Charlie Cox was going to cameo and officially be part of the MCU, until it became more concrete, or at least had fans hoping when images of him were leaked. As it turned out, those pictures weren't fake. Charlie Cox to many really embodied the character Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil, to perfection, and fans have been wanting him since the show's cancellation. To see him not only appear in an MCU movie and alongside Peter Parker, Spider-Man no less, and also having the big boss himself Kevin Feige say Charlie is going to be the MCU's Daredevil felt like an answered prayer for the fans.
If you were to see Daredevil in upcoming things, Charlie Cox, yes, would be the actor playing Daredevil.
There is still a court of public opinion.
So strap in, we are going to get more of Charlie Cox as Daredevil in the MCU, team-ups, his own series, whatever. Like, just prep yourself. It's going to be amazing. Next up, we have Doc Ock's grand entrance. The trailer may have spoiled this scene, but the reaction to seeing him when you're watching the movie is still unchanged. Alfred Molina made his long-awaited comeback as Dr. Ordo Octavius, and fans went nuts.
Hello, Peter.
The fight with Tom Holland's Peter Parker was amazing, and with all that, we also got a tease for the other Spider-Man we were hoping to see in the movie. To see Alfred Molina back in this role since more than a decade ago when he and Toby gave us one of the best comic book movies ever was emotional and hyped, to say the least. Now next up, we have Norman Osborn, Aunt May, and Peter Parker at Feast. The moment when Norman went to find Spider-Man at Feast after he saw his face in an advertisement for it really took audience by surprise. This was the same place in Far From Home where Spider-Man is brought in by Aunt May to help promote the charity. To see Norman Osborn open up about how he was lost and didn't know where he was or where his son was.
Someone's living in my house. Oscorp doesn't exist. My son? Every time he's in control, I can't remember. And now I'm here in this place.
Norman,
in this
Just presents us this broken and troubled man Norman was. Of course, William Dafoe killed the performance as always, and seeing him again in this iconic role and completely capture the role and making this character Norman so complicated was very moving. Coming up, we have Toby and Andrew's return. When people talked about the most crazed and hype moments in the movie theaters, Toby Maguire and Andrew Garfield's return as Spider-Man and in the MCU no less is going to be up there. After many denials by Andrew Garfield and rumors flying around,
Andrew Garfield playing Spider-Man again. Yeah. Oh, you almost got me. No, I'm not. Crying out loud.
Who are you?
I'm Peter Parker.
That's not possible.
we finally got the amazing Spider-Man on our screen. I mean, it is a Photoshop, right? But nah, it was real. I feel like of all the Spider-Man, he was judged most harshly and people really didn't take their time to appreciate his movies more. But after this, the internet went buzzing. And that's not the only thing that went buzzing, as the original Spidey, Toby Maguire, also came in next, just when we thought the scene couldn't get any bigger.
Hello. I hope it's okay. I just came through this,
You're Peter.
yeah, Peter Parker.
Toby to many was their perfect Spider-Man, the original. The one they watched as kids and grew up with, and delivered one of the best comic book movies ever in its time. Spider-Man 3 may not have been perfect, but I didn't like it overall, and I can't imagine how I would have loved it if Sony hadn't interfered. And the best part about this scene was Toby and Andrew recognizing each other.
Wait, he's not your friend.
And man, they just met each other, Toby and Andrew. Who would have thought? Next up on the list, we have the rooftop scene where all the Spideys met for the first time. If someone told me 3 years ago that we will be getting Tom Holland, Toby Maguire and Andrew Garfield together in the same movie as Spider-Man, then I would have told you to get off that drugs and go to rehab. Like, seriously.
Stop it. Get some help.
The amount of rumors and hype that surrounded No Way Home on the return of Toby and Andrew was just purely insane. Seeing these three heroes bond and Toby and Andrew try to comfort their little brother, who at this point is defeated and in such pain, while also sharing their own heartbreaks and giving fans some tidbits on their lives since the last time we saw them. This scene is borderline unforgettable. Now at the fifth spot, we have Tom Spider-Man vs Green Goblin and Toby stopping Green Goblin's murder. Sure, it doesn't have the heavy set pieces and all that, but the action and emotions throughout the fight was just insane.
Poor Peter. Too weak to send me home to die.
I just want to kill you myself.
Attaboy.
We've never seen Tom Holland's Spider-Man like this before, so broken and filled with rage, and for the first time, he wanted to kill. Willem Dafoe's performance as Green Goblin is still unmatched, with him taunting our Spidey throughout the fight. With intent to kill the Goblin with his own glider, Toby Spider-Man steps in and stops him. No words, just raw, pure emotions with his eyes. This scene is absolutely perfect. Toby bringing back Tom from the dark side, even though he was still stabbed. The whole scene just screams cinema. I know people don't like calling it that, but hey, everyone has his own opinion. And lastly, I find it funny how Goblin was going to be killed again by his own glider.
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
Now next up, we have the three Spider-Man assemble. To some, seeing this was history, and rightfully so. If you were in the theaters, I know you nearly went deaf as fans cheered on our three Spider-Man, who after coming up with a plan to deal with the villains, leapt in the air and landed in their favorite poses from their own movies. Even though the animated Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse laid the foundation few years ago, to see three generations of movies of Spider-Man together in their Spidey pose, their climactic battle with the villains, is one of the most iconic moments to come to cinema. At the third spot, we have Andrew saving MJ. Say what you want about Andrew Garfield's underrated portrayal as Spider-Man in the Amazing Spider-Man movies, but Gwen's death in Amazing Spider-Man 2 is one of the most emotional scenes to watch in a movie. It was so unexpected. It had never happened before in live action, or dare I say animated, to kill off Peter Parker's love interest. But there we were, watching and hoping it wasn't real, seeing Andrew's Peter or Spider-Man painfully mourn Gwen in his arms. So when the scene of MJ falling in the trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home, people for sure wanted Andrew, that is if he was in the movie, to save her, and save her he did in an emotional moment. The redemption Andrew needed was here. That's not to say he's not going to think about Gwen anymore. He's going to say, oh, I saved MJ, so now it's alright. Nah, he's still going to think about her because he really loves her. And he not only did this for his own redemption, but also to spare our MCU's Peter from experiencing his pain. And I have to say, Andrew's performance in this movie and moment sent tears not only to my eyes, but to everyone who saw it.
Are you okay?
Coming up, we have the Three SpiderMan's final goodbye. After the crazy battle and heartfelt moments and nostalgia, our Three Spider-Man met to say goodbye as Dr. Strange's spell was about to take place. Each Spider-Man filled with emotion in what felt like saying goodbye to a brother. Our three Spideys hugged each other, quite literally bringing 3 generations of Spider-Man of memories together. The fact that all 3 Spider-Men were brought together in a live-action film and to have this beautiful ending is an achievement that will go down in the history of comic book adaptations and movies in general. Hopefully, just maybe, this isn't the last time.
You're in so much pain.
I am.
Now to take the first spot, we have Antimaze Death. Spider-Man No Way Home is really like a roller coaster ride. We got so much emotions riding on this daredevil of a movie. You saw what I did, right? I mean, Daredevil was in the movie and I was just shut up right now. So, the surprises, the shock, the cheers, heartbreak, happiness, sadness, we felt it all. We never thought something like this could happen. Sure, there were rumors and all that about someone possibly dying in the movie, but never did we think that it was going to go in this direction. This is the first live-action Spider-Man to kill off Aunt May. Aunt May was Peter's last relative, last family. Sure, he had MJ, he had Ned, Happy is also there too. And you may also say the Avengers can count as friends, but Aunt May was family. He now has no parents, no uncle, no auntie. Tony Stark is also gone, and to top it off, the world and his friend don't even know him anymore after that spell. The emotions throughout her death scene was just heartbreaking, and the performance of Marisa Tomei and Tom Holland just utter brilliance.
May. What are you doing? May, please, will you just wake up and talk to me, please?
And that's it for this list. This movie has been sung so many praises. People even went as far as calling it Oscar worthy, which in my opinion is not far off. There were so many emotions throughout this movie. The happiness we felt when we finally sat down to watch it after waiting for so long. The joy we felt when Charlie Cox finally made his debut in the MCU, meeting our villains who we never thought we'll see again, much more in the MCU. Say what you will about plot holes, but this movie delivered when it came to telling a very good story of our hero and setting up his journey and development as a character. And now we are all curious to see where he's gonna go next. Obviously, there's more than 10 emotional moments from this movie, as I said in the beginning. So do subscribe and turn on post notifications and keep an eye out for the part 2 and more. As always, Nerdy Sage here. See you in the next video.